Hi everyone, this is Gail at Gail Julie Makes. I hope you're all well and I hope you're going to get some crafting time in today. So this is a tutorial that a few people have been waiting for, so I'm sorry it's taken me a while to get it uploaded, guys. It's been a crazy week or two of getting ready to come back out of lockdown. I've had my first shot of the vaccine, had side effects, cat's still a bit poorly, hubby's gone back to work. So all in all, it's been a bit of a crazy time, but hopefully we're a bit more back on track now. Okay, so I'm using the Versafine Clair inks on this particular piece on the gel plate today. Now these are permanent pigment inks, so once you've laid them down basically and they've dried, they won't be affected by other mediums, which is great. So I'm using the Twilight colour. By the way, they don't affect your gel plate. There's absolutely no problem. So what I'm doing here is I'm just using my smoothie to go over the stencil with that Twilight ink. I'm making sure I'm pressing down quite firmly in those sort of more intricate areas because, you know, you need to make sure the ink is actually getting through. So I decided to go over in this colour initially. I am going to be using other colours as well, so I'll let you know what they are as I use them. And it's just a really nice, quick, easy way to, you know, get some colour down on the gel plate. Use a stencil so you've got an image on there that you can then use in collage. You can paint over, you can manipulate. But like I say, that permanent quality of the ink means that you're not actually going to use that image by laying other things on top once you've, you know, pulled your print. So I am going to pull this print at the end with acrylic. I'll show you that, obviously, when we get to that stage. So I hope you're all well anyway. I hope you've been getting some time to do a bit of jelly printing. Drop me a comment below if you want to let me know what you've been up to, or if you want to tell me whether you think you'll have a go at this tutorial. I would like to get so much more work done with stencils and obviously, you know, I love doing my gel plate videos and trying to experiment with different techniques. So do expect to see a lot more. And if you'd like to subscribe, I'll put a link at the end of the video where you can subscribe to my channel. If you give me a thumbs up for this video, that would be awesome because that pushes it out so much more on YouTube. And obviously, we're always trying to grow the channel. So I've done my Twilight ink now. I think that looks really good. All the details come out really well, actually, which is great. I wasn't expecting it to come out that well. Obviously, don't throw your ink pad at your gel plate and your image because it might ruin it. I was lucky it didn't. So I was just feeling it there just to see if it's dried yet or not. Still a little bit tacky to the touch. Obviously, it's only just gone on there, so you know. But it is a really quick drying ink. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start building up layers around the image and maybe some over this image, but we'll see what we come up with. So I've got a stamp that I'm going to use. So I'm going to be using some clear stamps now. Now you can either use them on a block or you can just, you know, use them straight onto the surface. I don't really know why I bothered putting it on a block, to be honest. I think it's just because I'm so used to using them now from my stamping when I'm making cards and things. And I'm going to decide to go in with a Versafine Clair mouthful colour called Glamorous, which is a nice red. And this is a thinner Bear stamp that I'm using. It's looks a bit like a cheese grater. It's like quite an industrial style one. So I thought that would you know, be a bit of a contrast to the colour that was down already and also to the style. Sort of quite industrial metal compared to the sort of quite romantic feel of the actual image. So I'm just laying that down. I'm going in at different angles. It's a really quick, easy way to get marks and colour down on your plate using the stamps and the ink. And obviously when I pull it, it's not going to come out that bright. You know, so bear that in mind. If you want really, really bright colours, they may not necessarily come out that way. You'll see what happens when I pull at the end. It's quite a sort of, how would you describe it? Well, it's got quite a vintage feel. It's quite the colours. Some of the colours are a lot paler than they would appear on here, which I wanted in particular. I like that effect, but you might sort of want to think about how you would do this differently if you wanted really, really, really bold, bright colours. So I'm still going in with that Versafine Clair ink. And what I'm doing is, you know, I am restamping the image, but I'm not always doing that. So some of the areas are going to be second generation stamping, which is obviously when you've, you know, stamped it once and then you carry on stamping and it's the next generation. So it's a lighter colour basically. Okay, so we've finished with the Glamorous colour now. Give my hands a bit of a wipe, and I think I was just wiping the actual stamp clean then as well, because, you know, you don't, well, I mean, inks aren't too bad on your stamp. If it's, sometimes you could do the same technique with acrylic paint actually. So you could use your rubber stamps with acrylic paint, but you always want to make sure you're cleaning them off if you put any kind of paint on there. Just to recommend, you don't want to leave acrylic paint on your stamps. Okay, now this is another stamp by All and Create. This one is called Decimals, this stamp, and I'm using the Versafine Clair again. So this is the colour Verdant, which is a really nice light green that I'm using on the hat area now. By the way, if you're wondering who the stencil's by, I have no idea. I bought it brandless online. So I do tend to pick up portrait stencils when I see them. I think they're a great thing to have in your stash, because if you're doing journaling or collage work, gel plate work, bits media, I think it's always good to have some sort of faces that you can work from. I'm going in here as well with another stencil. This is a stencil by Stencilgirl, which is a Traci Bautista design. And I really like this stencil because of the way it's cut. I like the fact it's cut right to the edge of the actual flower rather than there being like a harsh block or line, you know, encasing it or squaring it in. I just think this kind of, you know, makes it really easy to do mark making techniques with it as well. So you can use it as a flower, or you could use just parts of it as just shapes, which is great. So I'm going in now with the colour Warm Breeze. And when I pull the actual stencil off, you'll see it's almost more like a mask in the way that it's laid down. Well, the ink has gone through it. So the actual bits that are free of ink are the actual sort of edges of the petals, so it's got more like a mask effect really than an actual stencil. But you know, it's always good to have stencils like this in your collection for those mark making techniques we were talking about, or just to give a different dimension to your work. So I'm going to go in now with some distress ink to give me some skin tones. Now this is the Wild Honey colour. It does almost look like it's sort of green, so that's the colour it should be. It does almost look green, and that is basically because my sponge is, or my smoothie is a bit dirty. So I wasn't overly fussed though. I mean, you know, the general colour was coming through after I used it in certain areas, so I knew it wasn't going to come out looking like exactly the right colours it should be anyway, this actual picture, if you know what I mean. So I'm going over the actual face now, so it's, as you can see, it's perfectly fine that I'm applying another ink over the Versafine Clair ink, because it's dry now, it's permanent, it won't affect the first layer that I did. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this. Unfortunately, my video glitched when I was actually pulling it, so I don't have the actual process of me pulling it, but I'll show you me popping the acrylic down. This is me just adding a little bit more depth by putting a different colour in. So I'm just going over the top of my original Twilight ink with Medieval Blue, just to give it a little bit of depth in the hair. So I'm going to use my Dina Wakley favourite acrylic paint, which is the buff colour. I love this for lifting. So I'm putting down quite a bit of paint there. Now, when I first pulled it, it didn't come out that well, so I actually pulled it again. So I recommend the amount I've used here is a bit too much. I found that sometimes with these sort of inks that you use in the Versafine Clair, you don't want to be able to see the picture as much as you would in an image transfer. But then there's also a point where you've got too much acrylic on the top. So I would recommend taking maybe just another layer of this off before you pull. And it really depends on your, you know, your paper, your cardstock, whatever you're using. But this was my second pull basically. So I did put a little tiny bit more on because my first pull was almost like a ghost print. So I put a little bit more in acrylic on, but not very much. So you want to be able to see that picture coming through, but not quite as much as you would on an image transfer, if that makes sense. So I do hope you've enjoyed this technique, guys, and that you want to give it a try for yourselves. If you'd like to subscribe to the channel for more gel plate videos, click top left there on my profile picture. That will subscribe you to the channel, and if you hit the bell and all notifications, it'll let you know when I've got a new video uploaded. Bottom left there is a gel plate video that I think you might be interested in. So if you want to go and have a look at all those videos, give them a thumbs up if you like them, and leave me some comments, because I absolutely love having a chit chat with you guys through the comments. So I hope you take care of yourselves, get some more crafting time in soon, and I'll see you in the next one.